Kenny Williams and Luke May represent the student body. Head coach Roy Williams is here. We're going to ask him to make a statement on the game, and then we'll go to questions for all three gentlemen from North Carolina. Roy, please.
He didn't know how correctly he said that when he said that Kenny Williams and Luke May were representing the student body, because I've been about as lucky as you can be the last 4 years to coach these two guys up here right now. I feel like that I've been so lucky, and they've won 121 games in their 4 years and represented our university the way that it should be represented, and they were the true pictures of student athletes that some of us are really lucky enough to coach. I didn't help them a heck of a lot today. I didn't get them as prepared as Bruce got his team prepared. But Bruce loves his team, but he can't love his team any more than Roy Williams loves his team. And I've loved coaching these guys. They've taught me something every single day. It's been fun to come to practice every single day. When I think of Luke May and Kenny Williams and Cam, I only had Cam for 2 years, but man, that's what every coach should love to have. It was tough for us today. Cam is not up here because he's throwing up. His temperature went up to 100 last night as well. Nasir was over 100 yesterday, but Nasir didn't have as much lift as he had, and Cam wasn't the same person on the court, but those are excuses. We've got to congratulate Auburn and Bruce and the job that he and his coaching staff did. And I really hope that that youngster is not hurt badly, because he's a heck of a player, and you don't want that for anybody. But I didn't do as good a job today as Bruce did. And but Bruce, as I said, loves his team, but I wouldn't trade my guys for anybody.
First questions in the back. Go.
Nick Bromberg, Yahoo Sports. Roy, my question's about Okiki. You've had a big injury in the NCAA tournament before. How do you balance the high of moving on in the tournament and then also the low of an apparent serious injury moving forward?
Yeah, it's the most unpleasant thing in the world. In 2012, we played Duke at Duke and had a great win for the conference championship, and I thought we were playing great. In the next game, first game in the ACC tournament, John Henson got hurt. And in the second game, the NCAA's Kendall got hurt, and we lost him. And I really thought we were as good as anybody in the country. Kentucky won it that year. They beat us by 1 at Rupp, and Anthony Davis blocked a shot on a great play. But what you just have to do is you have to keep going forward, because Auburn is going to show up to play regardless of who is out there. And those kids who are still playing have to try to pick up the load a little bit more and a little bit more. Nobody should have to try to play over their head, but it gives them a little more motivation now to play even a little bit better. Every one of them will have to do it, but needless to say, Bruce will motivate his team in the right way.
Down here in front, gentlemen.
Adam Teicher from ESPN. A question for all three of you, if I could. Where you felt like tonight's game got away from you?
Luke, you're first. Kenny will be second. The head coach will be third.
I felt like second half we came out, didn't play our principles. They hit some shots, and we kind of tried to get it back all in one play, and it didn't go in our favor. And felt like we didn't play to our strengths there at the end, and we forced some shots. And credit to Auburn, they shot the ball well, and we didn't guard well enough to win tonight.
Like Luke said, in the second half, early second half, we made some mental mistakes. And they capitalized on it. And, you know, they're a team that once they hit a couple, they get hot, and they got hot in the second half, and they kind of carried that momentum throughout the whole half.
Yeah, I would agree. I told these guys I'll never use my halftime talk again, because it sure as Dickens didn't work tonight. A couple of those, I think they made 3 threes out of 4 possessions early in the second half, and didn't have the right communication, and they made shots. I asked Kirsch, I think 17's the most threes any of my teams have ever given up in 16 years, but it was a bad time to have that happen. But left them open a little bit too much, and they made the shots. And sort of snowballed, and then we got it back to 5 or 6, something like that. And then they made 2 or 3 again. And we weren't, they've got the reputation, and statistically it shows they're not a good rebounding team, but they got to their offensive boards today better than we did. At halftime, I think they had 8 second chance points to 3 for us or something like that. And they kept making some offensive rebounds in the second half too, so you got to give them some credit, all of the credit except for me.
Greg Barnes in South Carolina for Luke and Kenny. I know this is a tough ask, but is it possible for you guys to kind of put into words your experiences over your last 4 years at UNC?
Kenny, you're first, please.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I tried to put it into words, it wouldn't do it justice. To really know the feeling, the joy that you get playing here, coming to practice, the meetings. You have to be a part of it to actually know the feeling. Like I said, putting it into words wouldn't do it justice. But if I had to, I would say it's nothing that I thought it was gonna be. You come in with the expectations, and these past 4 years have blown that away. I don't know, man. It's not even on the court. It's all the times off the court that you'll remember the most. Bus rides, plane rides, like I said, meetings. So, I guess, like I said, putting it into words would not do it justice. It would do it an injustice, honestly.
I feel like that it's going to be hard for me to speak on all the memories and all the times that I've had at Carolina, just because of so many great ones. And I can't even put into words how honored I am to be able to play for this university, play for Coach Williams, play with teammates, brothers like Kenny. Like Kenny said, I came to practice every day. Some days were good, some days were bad, but we were all family. We all loved being with each other, and it made practice fun each day. And I'll miss coming to practice and seeing my brothers, seeing Kenny and Cam, and especially Coach Williams. He's done so much for my development, and I give all the credit to him for the player I've become.
We have time for 3 more questions. We're going to take them 1, 2, and 3. Go, please.
Brett Friedlander, North State Journal. Kenny, could you go through that sequence at the end of the first half? You had gotten a lead, and then they scored the last 6 points of the half. And how did that affect you going into the second? And then for both of you, how frustrating is it at this time of year to not have everybody at full strength for such an important game?
Kenny, go ahead.
In the first half, we were still positive, despite them going on the run and taking the lead. But that's always how we are, despite what happens. We know the type of team that we were, and that wasn't going to be the run that was going to get us down. Honestly, I forgot your second question, honestly. I'm sorry.
How frustrating is it at this time of year to not have everybody at full strength? Cam and Ness, you're both sick.
It's tough. It's frustrating. Especially with, we've been dealing with injuries all year. So once we finally got to full strength, we had some guys go down with sicknesses. But like Coach said, you can't use that as an excuse. At the end of the day, North Carolina was going to play. They went out there, they gave everything they had. Hats off to them. They didn't want us to go out there without them. So they did everything they could and built up enough strength to get on the court tonight. But it's things that you have to deal with. Injuries are part of the game, so you can't really do anything about it.
Go ahead here.
Kate Carlton, South Boston Newspaper. Coach, they had 17 threes tonight. What were the difficulties of trying to guard them on the perimeter and stop the three?
Well, it was too difficult for us because we didn't do a very good job of it. But it was, like I say, it was things we focused on in the days prior to the game, mentally and physically. But you have to give them credit. They pushed the pace very hard, come right up your backs. They penetrate, and you're trying to make the decision whether to help or stay attached to the three-point shooter. And they could back you off with their quickness and shoot it. But they still had to make them. So you have to give them credit for that. And but we knew that was a central part of their attack. 58% of their shots the last part of the season have been three-point shots. But again, they made them, and we didn't do enough to stop them.
Roy, Bruce said after the game that you couldn't have been more gracious in defeat. I wonder if you could possibly share what you got across to him. And the second part would just be that moment where your guys went over to Chuma when he was down. I think a lot of people remember that. I know it's a tough loss, but could you just share your thoughts about that?
Yeah, the second part, 3 of our guys started going without me saying anything. And then I motioned for the other 2 guys to go down there, and they realized it. But our guys were going to go without me saying anything. And I love that kind of thing because I want us to compete like crazy, and I want to beat your rear end as bad as I can beat you, but I love the competition part of it. But that's the kind of kids I have. It's, in coaching, winning is good, but the thrill of the victory, what the real thrill is in having the looks on your guys' faces when they've done something and been very successful that's very difficult. That's the thrill for me. But the competition I love, but I've just been a lucky guy, Vahe, and it's I'm as bad as my brother Williams here. I forgot the first part of your question. Oh, I know. At that stage in the game was over with. It was 3 seconds, and I just went to congratulate Bruce and tell him what a great job he had done, because I feel how poorly I did, but I wanted him to know how the great job that I thought he did. And then I was just to tell him that I really, really hoped that kid was not hurt badly, because he played great. He kicked our rear ends early, and you don't ever like to see anything like that happen. But I want everybody to understand my kids were going down there without me saying something. That's my athletic director sitting back there, and you shouldn't say this. I would coach my guys for nothing. And even right now, this feeling, because you've had the association with them, you have no idea how good that has been. And Kenny says he can't describe it. I can't describe it either, but I know I've been a very lucky guy to coach these kids. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, gentlemen.